Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We got to talk about Big Brother 22 All-Stars, the veto episode.
But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can find the link in the description. Okay, Sarah.
Well, that was an episode.
They included more stuff than we thought they would.
More than we thought.
And when we get into some live feed updates, there's some stuff happening in that house right now.
Look, like I said last time, you guys asked for it. You were like, we needed it to shake up.
Yeah, I'm bored. This is bored. It's not boring anymore.
It's not boring anymore. There's so much happening, and this was an interesting episode. Had some highs and some lows. So let's start at the top. This is Christmas had just finished doing her noms.
Right. So we've got Davon and Bailey. I'm really going to do my best this entire stream to not say Daily and Davon. So forgive me if I do, because I just keep mixing it up. I need to just say Day and Bay. So we've got Day and Bay on the block together, and Davon's in the diary room, and she's like, "You're putting us up because we're a pair? Like, give me a break. There are clearly other pairs in this house that are bigger targets than we are. So like, I'm not buying it that we're the most threatening pair in the house."
No, there is actually a duo of two people who have previously won the whole shebang.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
But Bailey seems like legit heartbroken. And feels very betrayed by Christmas here. And we see Day talking to her, like trying to pump her up, because Bay is super defeated and like, I'm done with this game. I can't be in this house with these people. And Davon's like, girl, I need you to play. We got to stop that talk because I need you here.
Her DR was so good. She was like, you cannot get out of the car right now. You have to keep driving. She said it way better than that. But I was like, yes, this is why you are a queen and we love you. I do want to point out, though, right before this, because it started with Christmas in the DR explaining, why she put these two people up. And she said it a few times in this episode. She said, this is a duo coming for my alliance.
Not me.
This, even though we know that that's not true, we know that Bay and Day were actually working with like the majority of this alliance that you're in, Christmas, because your alliance is not real. But Christmas doesn't know that. Christmas lives in a delusional world that other people build for her, and they built that. Bay and Day. Now you're making me like question every time I say their names, like I'm gonna do it. Bay and Day are coming for Nicole and Danny, and like this has been planted in her head, and so she has bought it hook, line, and sinker, and this is what she's running with.
And it's also frustrating because, like, I interrupted you there to say, like, she is saying they're coming for my alliance, not they're coming for me, right? Like she's like it's just this Christmas way of playing Big Brother, where it's like I'm going to do what's best for other people. I do want to be fair and say, like, I think it speaks a little bit to how well positioned she is in that moment. I don't think she's not well positioned anymore, but in that moment, like, she didn't need to win this HOH. No one was really gunning for her. We saw in the competition, no one even picked her to play. She's kind of seen as like a non-threat right now, but also it's just like, Christmas, like, why are you always doing things for other people? It's annoying.
Well, she's going to stop that trend in this episode, David. So just hold tight. Hold on there.
Certainly does. Yeah. Now, David brings up his power because he's there talking to Bay and Day. He doesn't bring it up to them because he's still, mum. He has this power. Yes. But in the diary room, they do their due diligence as producers to have David say, I have this power. I could use it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save it for myself. Totally respect that as a game move. He should save it for himself.
He should, absolutely, especially since this is the first week that he could use it, like, wait. But it does seem like, even though we don't know for sure, but it does seem like right after noms, like shortly thereafter, he would have to make that decision. Like, it's not up till veto, I don't think, but we're still speculating.
Yep.
Okay, Bailey goes up to the HOH to talk to Christmas, and the music edit on this was great because it's like music, and then Christmas is like, oh, yeah,
Right.
and it goes.
And I imagine that's the sound that played in Bailey's mind because she's like, I'm on the block. Why am I comforting you? What is happening?
No, you don't get to break down and cry right now. What's wrong
I
with this
know.
picture? And so Bailey's having to be like, it's okay. It's a game move. I mean, I guess not that I was coming for you, which is so true.
Yeah.
Wasn't.
She's just like confused. You know, she's like, I don't know why this happened. I really like, she really thought they were good.
Yes.
And so this
so good that she was spilling game info.
Yeah. Yeah. Personal game info, as they
personal game, new term.
But yeah, she's just like frustrated and confused, but she finds herself in this position of like patting Christmas on the back and being like, "It's okay that you put me on the block." It's a very strange power dynamic.
It is. It is. Okay, we have a conversation with Devon, Nicole, and Danny. Mm-hmm. Now, this actually happened before Noms.
It did. Shortly before.
Yes, because we talked about it on Friday's video. Mm-hmm. We had already seen this. But this is when Devon kind of just spills the beans, comes on clean.
Yeah.
That it was Tyler.
Well, I think they're like kind of using this to set up this bigger Tyler storyline. It's just like Tyler, right? So this is where we see Devon and Danny comparing notes on Tyler. Oh, yeah, he was the source for this. And okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, we got to work together kind of thing. And they're like, maybe we can get Tyler backdoor. Meanwhile, Nicole Franzel is like, I don't really want to backdoor Tyler, but like, I just have to go along with it while I'm sitting here in the have not room.
Nodding. She's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. I love that. Like Devon's like, and it was Tyler who said Danny was planting seeds to comfort. And Danny's like, I would never cut to DR. She's like, dang it, Tyler told us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't forget that like Tyler was telling the truth, even though he did tattle or whatever. And they're like framing it in this like way that Tyler's a snake. He was telling Devon the truth. Like, let's not lose sight of that thread.
I mean, last I checked, I want my allies to tell me when someone's coming for me.
Yeah.
But in this season, we run to that person and we tell them and we allow them to lie and make up whatever. But it doesn't matter because Devon is just trying to save her butt in this game.
Yeah.
That's what this really, really boils down to.
Mm-hmm. Then we see also this that kind of feeds into Danny and Christmas have their one-on-one in the HOH room. Yeah. Danny says in the diary room, like, Tyler, I was not gunning for you because you were in my alliance, but now you've given me the perfect excuse to get you out of here because, like, I had to do it eventually. She's in there with Christmas. Again, this is still pre-noms, but they're showing us now. And she's just saying, this guy, like, we can't trust him. And Christmas is very much in, like, defense mode, like, oh, I don't know, we're in an alliance and the alliance has to stick together until final six.
Yeah, I remember in that conversation, she like just could not handle. She was like, I don't care if you guys don't like each other. You have to make up. We're in an alliance.
Right,
figure it out. We're in an alliance. Like she just couldn't stop screaming, we're in an alliance. And
well, because she can't really scream like, Tyler's my final two. I can't backdoor him.
Yeah, that too. She's like, no, this is the one person I will not backdoor.
Right. That's her untouchable, you might say.
You might, if you were a weirdo and that's what you said.
Yeah, I know, right?
But here we are.
So then we go into the pick your veto player, right? We're doing the draw here. Yeah.
We're going to do the draw, and it's going to be basically all the girls.
Yeah.
Plus
Ian. But then not so much Ian because Ian's sick with sharp. I was a bit worried for him in this segment because he's talking about sharp pains in his chest. I'm like, that's not good. Like he's a young guy. Like I think he's still in his 20s. I'm like, why are you getting sharp pains in your chest? What's going on?
I'll tell you why, David. Because his name was thrown around last week. That'll stir some stuff up in you.
Yeah, your heart starts beating.
Real anxiety when people are just like calling out your game. And then you're like, wait, I got to play in a comp. I don't want to take anyone off the block. I don't know what to do. I'm terrified. I don't
He's
feel
like,
well.
medic,
Yeah.
medic, help.
Yeah. That will cause your body to like take you down. Yep. I feel you.
Yeah. Well, he does end up seeing the medic. Like he goes up to the HOH room and tells Christmas, like, I got to see the doctor. And everyone's like, oh my God, Ian, like, of course your health comes first. And you know, when we get to the veto competition, which we've got a little bit more to cover before we get there, but he is out, like he can't play and there's no replacement for him.
Why is there no replacement? But
that
doesn't
was
even matter
weird.
in this because like no one's going to play for Bailey or Davon. So what
I know. Well, the thing, like, I thought maybe there was I mean, I knew that we knew the result of the veto competition before we watched this episode. So I knew it was going to happen. But we do get that segment with Danny and Nicole Franzel saying, like, maybe we should throw this to Davon. And I'm like, that would have been great if that had worked out. And they even kind of edit it in the episode as though that were their plan, but it was thwarted by Davon.
Yeah, I know. I 100% think it was their plan. They definitely at this point were wanting, I mean, they've been targeting Bailey mostly. So they want to keep Davon. They don't want to show their cards, but they would like Davon to be able to take care of herself kind of thing. So I completely think that that was the goal. And it just turned out to be a hot mess. Now, okay, so this competition is triggering on multiple levels. First off, this stop and go play, what is it called? Ready, set, go.
Oh, yeah, Mathcathlon or whatever is the...
But the ready, set, go part of it is the same comp that Christmas won with a broken foot with everybody throwing it to her. This is so triggering being back in this moment. And having Christmas be a part of it, it was too much for little old me.
See, the comp is most upsetting to me because I can't stand when people are like, we have to add, oh my God, wait, we have to do elementary school math?
Math?
Like, oh my God, like, get out of my face with that. Like, what? And even like, this is such a stupid conversation now, but even like subtraction is harder than addition. Why are you leading with like, I have to add? That's literally the easiest math thing to do other than read one number. You know, I was like, oh my God, this is so annoying to see adults who are like, I don't know what 8 + 6 is.
I loved that. That was the sound bite that they gave us. Danny going, we have to add. Yeah, like, oh, adding is hard.
Whoa, yeah.
What?
God. It's so dumb, but apparently they're all frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they got to the end of it, when it was like larger numbers being subtracted from each other, that is going to take me a minute.
Yeah,
but at that point you can tell Nicole is just like, I'm not even gonna worry about trying to figure this out.
Right. I'm just gonna sit here until Christmas goes.
Yeah. But I also feel like especially in the beginning, we've got 5 people playing, right? You don't have to be the first one out. There was no reason for Davon to have a false start on the very first try because you don't have to get there first. You just can't be last. So as soon as someone else jumps, you go because they're going to get the false start. If it's wrong, who cares?
Yes. Right.
That's what's so hard about that.
I know. She just was like, you know, I think it goes to show like there's a really delicate balance between competing hard enough and competing too hard. And she's competing too hard here. You know, she's too on edge. She wants the veto so badly in this moment. I do not blame her, but it just led to her downfall. She got too overeager. It was such a shame to watch. And then to see it happen to Bailey second is like, wow, this is the worst possible way this could go.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's it. And then like you literally have 2 people who were like, we'll throw this to you, Davon, and you can't even like stay in the comp. It's so heartbreaking to watch that go down. And on top of that, this is the one where we pull the prizes and whatever. So Davon grabs that veto first, knowing full well she's not going to have it at the end of this.
Yeah.
So when Bailey is the second one out, she takes the veto from Davon, and I almost wish she hadn't. I mean, I get that she's going to, but if Davon had the veto in her hand, maybe if Nicole won or Danny could pull it out, not that they were going to, but like they could have let Davon keep it.
Okay. Yeah, that
You know
is sort of a way for them to, I mean, clearly Bailey had no idea that Nicole and Danny were thinking along the lines of throwing it to Bay, but that would be kind of an indirect way of throwing it to Davon. Like, oh, we're just going to let you keep the veto.
Right. That's a bigger way of like showing your cards.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. And I also just don't feel like Nicole was going to do math at the end there. So we were probably stuck with this no matter what. But we should highlight when Nicole finally gets out, she does a good deed.
Yeah, that was a really sweet moment where she draws, what does she draw? $5,000.
She gets the 5K.
And Davon is like sitting there with a punishment that, you know, Bailey had to give her when she took the veto from Davon. And Nicole's like, you know what, Davon, like, I want this punishment. You have the, it just was like, she did not have to do that. I thought it was really nice. Davon almost starts crying because like she's already in a dark place because she knows she's lost this veto. Yeah. And now she's got this punishment that she has to do all week, which is like salt on the wound. For Nicole to take that away, that was a really sweet moment.
It really was. I mean, it's a small gesture, but you know it's appreciated.
Yeah.
You know? Like you said, salt in the wound. Like she's on the block. She's not winning the veto. Like, come on.
Yeah. Please don't make her wear a costume all week.
Yeah. And Nicole, you got $500,000. So because of Davon.
Because of Davon, yeah. So you can get her 5,000. Yeah.
5,000 sounds fair. Sounds fair.
Yeah. I also want to point out that after Davon and Bailey were out, Christmas almost lost. When like it was like they had to slow down the footage and do a freeze frame to show that Danny's hand was like a millisecond behind Christmas's. I really could not tell who hit the button first until they did the like extreme slow-mo of that. Like it was so close.
Yeah, just watching it, I was like, wait a minute. No, Danny was next. Like Christmas is out.
Same. Yes.
Had they not given me that shot, I would have been like, you know, ranting in the street.
Oh, for sure. I would have cried foul play. But she made it by a hair, and then she does beat Nicole in the final round. So then Christmas draws, you know, the punishment that she gives to Bailey, and she takes the veto from Bailey. And I thought Bailey handled it super well in that moment. Yeah. Christmas was like, I'm sorry. And Bailey's like, you won it fair and square, which is absolutely true. You know, nobody was throwing it to Christmas this time around. She actually did win it. So that's
I don't know. The fact that Nicole wasn't even trying to do math.
You're right. Okay, fair enough.
So here we are again, where I'm not 100% giving her that win, but technically she won. So
Sarah's like keeping a scorecard of Christmas's wins. It's like, this one was a 75% win. This one was a 0% win.
The only one I'm giving her so far is the safety suite. That's it. Other ones, super questionable, real gray area.
Yeah. All right. So after the veto competition, we do see Nicole get her costume. Everybody's having a good laugh about her in this like sloppy cereal box. Mm-hmm. And then we go into Tyler's head.
Okay. All right. Well, this is where I say, you know what, guys, we got more than I thought we were going to get.
Yeah.
I was prepared for this not even to be a storyline this week.
Yeah. They could have glossed over this.
Yeah. So we start with Tyler's not himself. He doesn't look well. He's very skinny.
Yeah. He's acting different.
He does look like he's playing Survivor. He does not look like he eats.
Yeah. Is he on slop? No, right? They don't have
not this week. He was on it last week. And I was very concerned that he was like the Walking Dead.
Oh my God.
But he doesn't have all of that good vegan cooking that apparently Angela did for him, and I don't know what he's eating.
Yeah.
So that's
well, he is apparently feeling bad that he is the one who kind of blew up the house. He feels like it's kind of his fault that Davon and Bailey are on the block next to each other. So he grabs Davon and he's like, we got to talk to Bailey. So they go up to the have-not room, wake Bailey up from her nap. And Tyler's like, I feel so guilty. I can't take this. Y'all are here for something bigger than me. I want to see that play out. I'm going to ask Christmas to use the veto and put me on the block. And there's just like, I can like hear the silence in the room after he like makes this pitch. Bailey is probably like, what the? She's not even looking him in the eye the whole time because I think she's like, am I dreaming? Like, did I get woken up from this nap? Like, what's happening? She's confused. I think she also doesn't trust Tyler. So it's just kind of like a very confusing situation because you don't expect this to happen on an All-Stars season.
No, it's weird. And when you're saying things like you're here for a bigger reason, like you're touched.
Yeah.
You're like, wow,
right.
That's lovely for you to point out and make that gesture.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like an overwhelming moment. And we did talk about this on our Monday video because we watched it. And I, in my opinion, felt like he was being genuine. Like he really did seem upset.
He did,
in that moment.
Yeah.
I also clarified that I wish he had not said what his plan was then going to be. I wish he had saved that. That's the part I have that this got messy because of that. It's one thing to say, I feel like this is all my fault. You guys are here for a bigger reason. This sucks. Like that's one conversation. It's a totally different conversation to say, so I'm going to get myself backdoored.
Yeah, he's like making a promise that he can't necessarily follow through on. Like he hasn't even had the conversation with Christmas yet. He hasn't taken her temperature. He doesn't know how she's going to react. And I think in the moment we see Davon, I think, get more excited than Bailey. Bailey gets up out of that bed and she was like, still just kind of shell-shocked. Like, what just happened? Like, is this real? And Davon's like, I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but like, we do not get life vests in this game. This is something, but she's still trying to manage it. But you can tell that Davon is trusting this a little bit more. And I think Bailey is still like, I don't trust Tyler for a second. Like, we'll see how this plays out. It would be lovely if he did this, but like, I don't know about this dude. But Tyler does go right in and pitch to Christmas. And like we said in the Monday video, this is not good for Christmas's game. Tyler is her final two. She's not, I mean, for once, Christmas is not doing what someone tells her to do. I think maybe if Tyler had gone in and said, Christmas, you have to use the veto and you must backdoor me, she would have been like, okay, yes, sir. But
maybe that would have worked. But she's still like, but the committee, but our final two. Like Christmas can't look outside of that. So she's not a fan of this to begin with. But we do move on to other conversations because ultimately Davon is like, I gotta put in the work. Okay, Tyler started this. He talked to Christmas. So now I follow up and I talk to Christmas. And again, I've been so impressed with the work that she's put in this season. And here she is trying again, being like, it's okay to keep Bailey is basically what she's saying. Bailey's not coming for you. She's not worried about you. It's okay to keep Bailey.
Right.
The only thing Christmas hears, though, is, oh, she's mad at Tyler, my final two. My tie, my favorite man. What? That's what Christmas heard.
Yeah. So then she goes back to Tyler and she's like, you know, Bailey wants your head on a platter. This is what I'm hearing. She's such a dangerous player. And I'm like, so then we see Tyler kind of reconsidering in the diary room. Well, I mean, if we aren't going to be friends after this, then like maybe I shouldn't have even made the offer in the first place. And I'm just like, if it was about you wanting to go home, what does it matter that Bailey also wants you to go home? Why
Yeah,
does that change anything?
I didn't hear the like stipulation list. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to go home and do this for you if this thing happens and if this thing happens.
Right.
Apparently.
Yeah.
There were a couple of those. That got a little confusing. And also just knowing that right before that talk, that the morning of talk between Christmas and Tyler, where we get this like final decision that she's not going to do it, basically. Right before that, you know, Bailey and Davon had both checked in with Tyler, and he was like, oh no, like I'm still like, I haven't changed my mind, because they're just like, you know, let us know if you've changed your mind kind of thing, you know. And he's like, no, I'm still, he's like, I've got to go talk to Christmas again, but like nothing's changed on my end, right? And Bailey even said to him, like, I have a feeling she's not going to use it, and I just want you to know, like, I appreciate your gesture, and you have my permission to vote me out. Like, I want Davon to stay. Like, she had this great conversation with him, and he was like, wait, you don't think she's going to use it? Like, in that moment, he hadn't talked to her yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that was a bonding moment between Bailey and Tyler. She said thank you. Like, so then for him to go into the room and Christmas be like, here's some information about Bailey, she's coming for you.
And then for him to
how did that completely cancel,
snap back into game mode of like, wait a minute, somebody's coming for me. Like, no, I'm going to get them. I'm like, why does that matter? Why does this change anything? And I got to say, like, there was a brief little mini segment where Bailey is saying to Davon, like, I don't really trust this. Like, could Tyler be doing this for optics? We have talked about the optics of this previously, about how this does not look good to the BB fandom to have a runner-up of Big Brother wanting to just essentially self-evict without self-evicting, right? Like, that's bad optics. But I think the optics that Bailey is referring to is like, Tyler's just trying to look like a good guy. He, to a certain extent, he's like vilified for the way that he treated Bailey during BB20. And so she's suspicious of like, is he trying to make up for that in some way and like get that whole business just out of the way? And for me, when he was like, oh, are we not going to be friends because I self-evicted for you? Kind of suggests, yeah, maybe that was what he was doing a little bit. But he heard from Christmas that it wasn't going to work like that, that they, you know, Bailey was still after him and definitely wanted him out. And so then he's like reconsidering, because like you said, there was some kind of stipulation there. It was supposed to all be no more bad blood if I self-evicted. And now that there potentially is still bad blood and you're still gunning for me, maybe I'm going to change my mind. That's kind of how I read the situation.
Yeah, it's tough. It's real tough. And look, none of us are inside their heads, so it's really hard to know exactly what the heck is going down. But I do kind of feel like Tyler's game has been just a little off this season. Like BB20, Tyler, great game player. And he came into 22, like really laying low those first 2 weeks, but almost because he wasn't happy, right? He wasn't sure he wanted to come back. He wasn't, I don't know if it's just missing Angela or if there's other stuff going on, but he just wasn't even into the game. On one hand, okay, he doesn't look like a threat, so people aren't looking at him, whatever, but like he literally wasn't in the game. He was just moping. So then all of a sudden last week, I think it had a lot to do with being on slop. He was really hungry and like his head got back into the game. And I, for one, was like, finally, like Tyler talking about going after Danny. He like wants to play now. I'm like, this is great. Then he starts eating again, real food. And all of a sudden he feels bad for, first off, he's like, I feel like it's my fault, when in no way was it his fault. He gave Day and Bay a heads up that someone was coming for them. And then they ran it back to other people. So in no way was that Tyler's fault, but all of a sudden he feels like it is. I'm like, Tyler, get your head in the game. And then like the next morning, his head's back in the game again, I guess. Or
I guess
at some point post veto, his head got back in the game. I'm just like, pick a lane, Tyler. Like
Mhm.
either, I mean, I don't like people self-evicting, but like if you really don't want to be here, then fine, go. Or just play the game and stop trying
Yeah.
to make up for BB20. I think there's a lot of
I
that
know.
too.
Yeah.
This trauma from past seasons that they can't let
It's
go.
it's
What?
really kind of poisoning this season in a lot of ways. Like people have so much
Yeah.
baggage, especially from these recent seasons. Like it is challenging to watch them process this. Like
Yeah.
it has really hurt a lot of these players.
Okay. Tyler wanted to make up with Bailey.
Yeah.
Bailey ran information back through the house. So Tyler, guess what? You can't trust Bailey. So guess what? Don't work with her anymore. Like just keep your head in the game and like move forward and stop worrying about BB20. Stop worrying about what Twitter thinks of you. Cause I think him worrying about it is making Twitter hate him more.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And let's just play some game. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I guess they had to put a lot of this in the episode because like the truth is Christmas was never going to change the nominations.
Right.
Bay and Day were always her target, no matter what anybody else wanted or said. I mean, you know, it was what Danny wanted, essentially, like we've already laid out. But this was like Christmas was laser focused this week. We see her not use the veto, which we already talked about. They're still on the block. We do not see their speeches, but we do after she says, I'm not going to use the veto. Bailey sitting there very casually says, so can we share who your untouchable is? No.
No.
From Christmas. No.
Oh.
This veto ceremony is adjourned. No.
No. That was a hard, firm no. And I was like, you don't get to make that. You revealed game info from someone else so they can do it to you.
Yeah, right. Like you literally put me on the block because I told you who my untouchable was. So I don't think that it's going to be a problem if I tell people who your untouchable is. Like, feels like that's maybe just tit for tat.
Yep. It is. I love that Bay said that. I wish we had gotten their speeches because I feel like Bay's speech was pointed about. I mean, I heard her say some of it on the feed, so I would have liked to have seen that. But let's go ahead and get into some spoilers so we can talk about Christmas's Untouchable.
Yes. Okay.
Wait, oh God, what was the comment? Someone gave me a tip on how to do
we have
this.
tips? Oh, thanks.
I'm going to delay, but don't you change a thing, David.
I'm perfect.
Yes, you are perfect.
But you are the key to fixing it, is what I'm doing. Okay.
I am, David. I'm the key to a lot of things, David. You phrased that perfectly.
Okay, should we try it?
Ready?
Okay.
1, 2.
Spoilers.
Oh my God. That sounded good on my end.
That may have worked. It sounds off on my side, but I hope it lined up on the.
It lined up on my end. I'm kind of excited.
Okay.
That tip.
Let us know, Chad, if that was better.
Oh, it looks like it might be. Okay.
Okay. All right. We're on to something. Good. Oh, thank you, Shafika. Much better. Okay. So let's get to some feed updates here. A little delayed. Okay. Shut up, Kristen.
We're working on it.
Your screen name. Okay. So I'm sure we will see a lot of this in tomorrow's episode because like this is like this is the first huge fight of this season and kind of people have been wanting
real fight. Before we get into the fight though, let me just say that shortly after the veto ceremony, Bailey did tell Ian that Christmas said that Ian was her untouchable. Now that's not true. Obviously, Tyler is Christmas's final two. But that was what Christmas put out there. And so Bailey put that to Ian, and Ian has told plenty of people. So the whole house is under that impression.
Okay. Yes. And it's kind of getting around that Ian is Christmas's untouchable because Ian is going around saying people are saying that I'm Christmas's untouchable. And so then that's how everybody heard about it. Like Ian is just telling everybody, and that's how everybody knows about it.
He 100% did that to himself. Yes. That is The truth.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into what happened Monday night post veto. Obviously, Bay and Day are in. I mean, they were expecting something to happen in the veto ceremony that did not happen.
Yeah.
And they were already upset that they're on the block by Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to be honest with you, Christmas has prepared herself that Bailey was going to blow up on her, like before she even did noms.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think it was right after noms. I think it was right after she was making comments on the feeds like, oh, someone's going to put a fork in my eye, things like that. So she very much was, leaning into this narrative of like, these girls are going to explode on me.
Yeah, it was gross, but I feel like part of it was her like pumping herself up. I got to do this big move, and these girls are going to blow up on me. Like she was expecting it, and I kind of feel like the fact that it didn't happen got Christmas like worked up on the inside. That's just me adding my own speculation. Who knows?
Sure.
But I kind of feel like there was some expectations, and when it didn't happen, she might have been upset about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, it definitely feels like she is the one who escalated things.
She did.
So she was like kind of looking for a fight, like you say. And then when it wasn't really happening, she's kind of the first one to raise her voice. But it begins in the bathroom. Bailey is in Bailey's in the diary room.
Yeah.
And Davon and Christmas are talking in the bathroom, just kind of about the whole situation. And Davon is there kind of trying to explain how Bailey is feeling, what Bailey is feeling, and why to Christmas.
Yes, because Christmas can't handle that Bailey doesn't want to like hug Christmas and give Christmas all of the validation that Christmas needs. And so Christmas is like, what is wrong with Bailey? Why is she taking this so personally? Why can't she like validate my needs?
Right,
basically, is what she's saying. Yeah. And Davon's like, because she trusted you and you put her on the block.
Exactly. Like this is where earlier referred to personal game information. And that phrase is used a lot in this conversation. But what Davon is saying is Bailey trusted you with this personal game information that I was her untouchable, and you turned around and used that against her. And that is the problem. Like that's really all Davon was saying. But it just becomes this like argument about semantics, because Christmas, I do kind of think Christmas makes a bit of a fair point. Like, what is personal game information? Like game information is game information, and I can do with it whatever I want. But that kind of has nothing to do with Davon's point, because Davon is just saying Bailey's upset because you betrayed her. She gave you information and confidence, and then you used it against her and put her up on the block. That's why she's upset. Period. And
it's going the wrong way when you're like, there's no personal game. What's personal game? It was personal game. There's no such thing as personal game. You're like, you guys are literally fighting about the most random, non-existent thing that's ever been fought about.
Right. Yeah, but
Davon excuses herself at this point.
Well, yes, because it's almost like the timing is unreal here, because Bailey gets out of the diary room and is coming into the bathroom kind of right as Christmas is getting worked up.
Like, do. What?
Yeah. She walks in and like, it's like immediately Christmas like throws an F-bomb at Davon, and Davon is like up off the couch. I'm walking away. Christmas is like, good night. And Davon's like, I'm not going to bed. Don't good night me. But she's like, but I am removing myself from the situation, because like, you are messing with the wrong woman, essentially. And like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to have a big blow up argument, is essentially what Davon is saying as she walks away. So then Christmas is like, Bailey, blah, blah, blah. And Bailey's like, I just got here. Yeah. Like, and Christmas is like, you're right.
Yeah.
My tone needs to come down, and she like tries to like take a deep breath before she communicates with Bailey. And that lasts all of 15 seconds?
Yeah, because honestly, Bailey was like, cool, while you take a breath, let me tell you a couple things. So there's like no pause. There's no beat in this whole like debate or whatever. So Christmas is like trying to calm herself down, but she's not going to because like we're still continuing this whole shenanigans. And
Yeah.
so by then, yeah, like Christmas is up and somehow we get to the hallway where Christmas like turns back around to Bailey and has some hands in faces. That's where you have to draw the line, guys. You can't get the hands in the faces. And we also did some clapping Christmas. We cannot clap at people.
No. And she
understandably,
she was like also physically blocking Bailey, like stepping in front of Bailey, not prevented. Bailey wasn't trying to go anywhere or like move through the hallway, and Christmas wasn't blocking her in that sense. But like as Bailey shifted, Christmas also shifted and like got straight in front of her. And that kind of body language is intimidating and threatening, you know?
Oh, yes. It was very intimidating and threatening. And, you know, she's also screaming a lot of F-bombs, which, you know, some people use those more than others. But when you are in a heated debate, it's not a time to throw those out. And Bailey's literally like, well, you can't clap at me and I'm not clapping at you. Look at me. My hands are down. Like she's like yelling loudly that like, I am not doing anything in this situation.
Well, and I will say
like losing it.
Yeah. Bailey's tone is up, but she's not yelling in the way that Christmas is yelling. And she's making the point of like, why are you treating me like this? I am not treating you like that. I'm not yelling. I'm not fighting. Like, I'm not cursing at you. And if I did, I would get painted in a much different light by, you know, the internet than you probably will be for behaving this way. But she's just saying like, I didn't come at you with this energy. Why are you coming at me with this energy? And I think it stemmed from when they're still in the bathroom before it explodes into the hallway. Christmas is like, I thought you could separate game from personal. And she kind of starts to get choked up. And to me, that was like, you're crying because you either can't defend or you can't stomach your decisions and your behavior here. So you're like turning to tears, like, and Bailey shuts that down. She's like, and Christmas is like, let me finish. And she's like, no, you're not going to paint yourself as the victim here, because she's kind of been doing that since the whole thing. Like we saw right after noms, Bailey went up there and Christmas is crying right after the nomination. So now Christmas is crying again. And Bailey's like, you are not the victim here. And so then when the tears don't work, she snaps into anger. You know, like that's kind of the progression of like Christmas's emotions here. And Bailey is really, I think, doing an excellent job of like staying calm, but, you know, making a very reasoned plea to Christmas of like, can we not do this? I'm not yelling. Why are you yelling? But then Davon has been emotional in the backyard while this is all going on in the bathroom with Bailey and Christmas. And Davon comes inside again. Like the timing is very opportune because like it's getting super heated. And Davon is like, you're coming into the backyard with me. And they kind of like exit the situation to like de-stress. And Bailey is just like, what did I do? Like, how did I get here? Why does this happen to me?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was, I mean, like all Bailey was saying in the bathroom was like, these are the reasons I'm unhappy that you put me on the block, which is 100% reasonable for anyone to say when they're put on the block. And also, I'm not going to let you be victim. Like you don't get to be the victim in this. You are literally HOH. And like Christmas just couldn't handle that. What was interesting from then moving on, because Bailey and Davon have removed themselves from the situation. They're outside together. And I just loved, I mean, I hate that they're going through this, but I loved the two of them together, because how many seasons have we seen one person of color being attacked and not having any ally who truly understands what they're going through? And the two of them were speaking on a level that I will never understand, saying like, this is how I was and this is how she was. And she came at me and I can't behave like that. But like, here we are. And like the two of them at least had each other to connect on that. And I honestly enjoyed just seeing that they had each other. Their friendship is really lovely to watch on these feeds.
Yeah. It just was, it's really amazing to see them just have that outlet, which, like you said, we just don't see it that often because the casting is largely white a lot of the times. So like
Mhm.
we get one person of color who's very isolated. And, if they do have an ally in the house, it's like a white person who doesn't fully get it. But
Right.
they're just able to kind of like talk each other off of a ledge because they have this common understanding,
Yeah.
of like, I know, like, if we say anything, we're going to get painted as like, because Davon keeps saying that they're going to say, this is the Davon blow up that you've been waiting for and all this stuff. She knows what the audience expects of her. And she's really trying to not do that. And so, yeah, I just really like, it wasn't, like you say, it wasn't fun to watch this conversation, but I really appreciated seeing it because it's just something that like, I can only kind of experience by being a fly on the wall because I'll never fully understand,
And this is just why we need more representation in a cast. You can't just have one of each whatever. You can't have the one Asian person and the one Black person. Like that just doesn't work because we need allies and we need representation. And this is exactly why we talk about it every year when we get a cast and we're like, here we are.
I know.
So, but to compare inside, Christmas's behavior is just deteriorating. She is like got this face. She's like crouched over. At one point, Kevin's like, maybe you should go up into the HOH room. And she's like, I want to. My
she's
house.
Like,
and she's
I'll be wherever the F I want. I live here too. Like she's not saying F. Like she's fully cursing. Like she's
she's saying all the words. Yes.
And she's like at the island. Day and Bay come in from the backyard. I have to say I laughed out loud when Davon threw the sliding glass door open. And Bailey, like David is like running inside and Bailey's like, I'll take care of it. I got it. Don't worry about it. And they storm into the bathroom and Christmas is at the island. Like it almost felt like it was professional, like steady camera work, the way that it worked out, because it's like it kind of zooms in on Christmas and she crouches down and is like looking into the mirror behind her, like spying, and then the camera's like tracking her this way. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, how are they doing this live?
Yeah, there was some really great camera shots. She proceeded to just keep being crazy. Katie, thank you so much for the super chat.
Thanks, Katie.
Sometimes it's like, we have to talk about this stuff, but it needs to be said.
Yes.
Very few people came to Christmas's defense. Most people were going outside and supporting Bailey and Davon. It really was lovely to see that support. Christmas was still like raging. All they did was walk through to go to the bedroom, and Christmas was like still provoking, which there is a very funny clip of Davon being like, "You're provoking. I'm provoked."
Yeah.
Like being carted out.
I am provoked. Christmas. Yeah, it's so great. But you're like, they just walk by, like Bailey is putting herself in between Davon and Christmas.
Yes.
They're walking to the bedroom, like you say. And Christmas goes, "Here we go."
Yeah.
And Bailey's like, "Stop adding fuel to the fire. What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm not." And it's like, yeah, you are. They didn't say a word to you as they were passing to the bedroom. And you had to throw out like, "Here we go," as though like, here we go. They're going to blow up. This is exactly what I knew was going to happen.
Right.
And yet
that I've been hoping for days. And I had to instigate it. But here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like she just couldn't stop when she was in it. She just like couldn't stop, and the crazy continued to go. Seth, thank you so much for the super chat.
Seth.
Wild events.
Yeah.
But back to the fact that nobody was there for Christmas, really. Like Danny was already standing there, so she was just like, cool. And Kevin was already standing there, so he was like, "Hey, why don't you go to the room?" And she was like,
"Why don't you get out of here?" Yeah.
And like shortly thereafter, Tyler comes in and he's like, "It's never too early to apologize." And Christmas' face was like, and then he goes back outside and is like, "You guys are fine. You're good. Like all good."
I will respectfully disagree with Tyler there. I feel like if Christmas had gone in to apologize at that very moment, maybe it was too early to apologize right
that's
then.
true. But I love that he was like, Christmas, you should apologize. And she was like, I think you have this backwards.
No, wait. Let me explain what personal game information. Yeah.
There's no personal game. So yeah, pretty much Christmas destroyed her game in one.
She did. Well, yeah, let's talk about kind of the fallout here, because Christmas did not endear herself to anyone with this situation. And I think the house kind of sees her as a bit toxic now. They don't really want to be associated with that. And, you know, that may change as the weeks go on. But we've already seen some talk on the feeds with Danny and Nicole about, specifically from Danny, kind of about how her ideal final six is shifting. So we've still got, you know, Cody in there. We've still got, is it Memphis? But we've got Tyler and Christmas are out, and now she wants Enzo and Davon in her ideal final six. So like this whole week has definitely kind of shaken up alliances a bit. We'll see, you know, how that goes moving forward, but interesting to hear her talk about that.
For sure. I mean, I do feel like it's important to note that people specifically aligned themselves with Christmas, saying they knew she was going to pop off. They kept several times it was said, she's the type of person who's going to pop off. I'm going to use her to do my dirty work, and then we'll let her go. So that has been the plan. It came to fruition. Christmas delivered, and they are cutting ties with her immediately. That she did that she's a puppet, she's a pit bull, whatever you want to call it. She did that dirty work, and they will release her now. So not a shocker at all with that. What is kind of shocking is that Danny really has changed her tune. Like, I keep yelling at the Davon through the feeds, being like, stop trusting Danny, stop telling her everything. Like, she's still revealing information to Danny. But it's true that Danny now has changed her tune on Davon and does want to work with Davon. So it's kind of her only option now. Yeah. Keep herself safe.
I know, because it's like, you can't, you know, hitch your wagon to Kevin, sorry to say, but like, I know that you're close with Kevin, but that's not like a winning strategy to be like, well, Kevin and I are going to storm this house. Like, no, you're not. So you have to find another avenue here. And it surely ain't Christmas. So like, you know, it's not, I don't think it would be terrible for Davon. She has to know that she would be on the bottom of that alliance, but like, she doesn't need to worry about that immediately. She just needs a group of people who might have her back for a few weeks. Yeah. And, you know, see where she can get herself.
Also, Davon's done a little bit of work with Enzo. Like, Davon's always thought that she was close with Enzo, but Enzo always was closer with Bailey. But now that it's pretty open that Bailey is going to go this week and that Davon is going to stay, she's kind of had that talk with Enzo of like, you know, if Bailey's gone, like, I want to be there for you. Like, let's be close. And so I hope that can stick, because Enzo would be a decent ally for Davon if he's real about that. Because I'm pretty sure he's not going to care about Christmas too much after this.
No,
he's still being polite to her. But
see, Enzo's one where I'm like, I just don't feel like I fully know where his head is and who he's actually going after, what he would actually do as an HOH. We have seen some stuff like Bailey is kind of preparing to leave the house. It feels like we saw her. She did make up with Christmas. She did have a nice chat with Tyler, and they kind of buried the hatchet about like, because there's been a lot of stuff on the feeds about like social media tension between the two of them outside the game. So they kind of buried the hatchet in a conversation. But she's also been kind of pumping Enzo up, it feels like, and telling him like, you got to realize Tyler is loyal to Danny and Cody. She's like, I think Christmas has a power. She feels like she's kind of feeding him information. So I want to believe that Enzo and Bailey were actually super tight, and that he was loyal to her, and that loyalty might transfer over to Davon, because I think if it did, that they could be, like you say, a really good pairing.
Yes, but I do still feel like he is more loyal to Tyler and Cody. The three of them, they call themselves triple threat. That doesn't seem affected. So I feel like what is, even though Enzo says whatever somebody wants to hear, the through line has seemed to be Ian and Nicole. I think if Enzo won HOH, that's who he'd put up.
Yeah.
If Davon wins HOH, I think she goes after Tyler and Christmas. That's pretty clear. And again, I think that, Danny's not going to want to win. Nicole's not going to want to win.
Right. Yeah, because Enzo, I remember there was a conversation I saw between, what is it, the triad, the trio, the threesome? What is that?
Triple threat?
Triple threat, that's it.
Three guys?
Yes.
I don't know this one. Which one is this?
The triple threat. So Enzo, it kind of makes he's always like fired up when he's talking game. And he's like, if I win HOH, I'm going to flip this house upside down. And I'm like, are you? Like, what are you? And he's saying like, there are some people in this house. I know they're too comfortable. And I'm like, based on your previous HOH, like, I don't know if you're really going to be flipping any tables. But he does say that like his targets, he talked about putting up Danny and Nicole. He still doesn't trust Danny. And then potentially like Ian as a replacement nom if one of them comes down. So he's definitely got like those duos in mind. Nicole, I don't necessarily know if he knows that Nicole and Ian have their $1 million club alliance, but he's focused on them as previous winners. Exactly. And then also focused on this duo of Danny and Nicole. So that could actually be interesting if he's willing to like take a big shot like that.
Yeah, because when it comes down to it, he does like Tyler for the whole getting Danny out kind of thing. That he does still have that attachment with Tyler, and they both still want Danny out. Tyler and Danny have done like a little bit of making up, but they're both still gunning for each other. Danny and Cody have completely made up, and she's to the point where she's protecting him. Oh my God, David, when she circled back.
Talk about it.
She's like, oh, Davon, I was just thinking about this thing that happened like a long time ago. Remember when that whole David thing came up? It was all Tyler, not Cody at all.
Right. Because Davon's like, yeah, I remember. Like, we already talked about this. It was Cody and Tyler. And Danny's like, no, it was just one. It was Tyler. And I'm like, okay, Danny.
Wait, what? Like, remember that thing? Well, it wasn't that other person. I'm like, how obvious are you trying to protect somebody?
I know.
It wasn't sly at all.
Yeah, right. I also, in addition to, we talked about the makeup conversation between Bailey and Christmas, Bailey and Tyler. There was a conversation between Christmas and Davon as well, where they kind of like smooth things over. Everything's, very much calmed down since that big blow up. And I think it was Davon who says to Christmas, like, I believe they're talking about there are only going to be 4 women left. If, when Bailey goes home, it's just going to be Danny, Nicole, Christmas, and Davon. And Davon's like, I believe in us. Like, let's F this S up. Like, she's just like, let's do this, like pumping it up. And I'm like, that's hilarious because Davon is absolutely going after Christmas if she wins HOH.
Yeah, true that for sure. But yeah, it's so sad that we're down to 4 girls. This is so crazy. But yes, you have all of our permissions to go after Christmas. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Just for the record, Christmas did apologize. She did say, like, I should not have gotten so worked up. That was not cool of me. Like, so it took her a good 24 hours, but she got there and they hugged it out for a minute, but it ain't real. So
no,
Davon's coming for you.
Yeah, Christmas is like trying to do the work because she's like, ooh, I can't play an HOH next week, so I gotta smooth some things over before that happens. But it's not. Yeah. It's not going to stick with Davon. She's not going to forget that.
No, and it won't be long before Christmas realizes that this committee does not have her back.
Yeah.
Memphis is the only person who really has her back, I think, at this point.
Well,
that's so yeah. Well, and Memphis is sleeping his way through this game. So see you at final 2. We're too busy now to remember that we want Memphis out. Remember?
No.
Remember that, guys?
Remember that.
Yeah, there's not going to be much change on this vote. It's there have been conversations, but the votes are in Davon's favor. She'll be staying.
Yeah. David specifically, I think, really wanted to make a push to keep Bailey, and Enzo was like down if he could get the votes, but the votes are just not there. Bailey knows that and has kind of resigned herself to that. And she's, I think she's happy for Davon to stay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I do think that's true. So they'll fake work together for a little bit. So. Yeah. All right. I think that was the drama of this week. We will be back tomorrow after the eviction episode, and we hopefully have a new HOH.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be fun if it was Davon?
Oh God, I don't even want to say it because like we were saying it last week, and then it was such a disappointment when it didn't happen. So I hope.
Oh yeah.
I hope. Who do I want to jinx? I hope Cody wins HOH.
Yeah, Cody and Memphis. Those are my picks.
Yeah, those are the top two for sure. Anybody in the committee, I hope the committee. I hope all 6 of the committee win HOH.
Oh boy, well, let's not get crazy here, David. We might be ruining it. We might be doing it wrong. And, thank you guys who joined us in the chat. We appreciate it. I think Jovi just brought her squeak toy in here. Perfect time to go. If you guys are watching this later, please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about all of this drama and Davon staying.
Yes, let us know what you think, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the eviction recap.
Okay, bye.
Bye.